Greetings to the Conscious Collective. Welcome, 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 TikTok. I am simulcasting on TikTok. TikTok, feel free to join me on YouTube during this stream. All right, we're starting a little late, but I think I got everything lined up. I wanted to talk about Project Bluebeam and all the things that are happening, that are going to be happening soon. So I hope everyone can hear me. Let me make sure the volume is up on TikTok. Hold on, TikTok. Let me turn your volume up a little bit. All right, I think we're all good on TikTok. So as usually, we want to start with a little practice, psychic practicing as we warm up. We do this on Saturdays. We have an online live workshop. Join the community, the conscious community. Click on the link in the description to join the conscious community so you can join in on our live psychic practices. We do 3 types of psychic practices. We do reading my mind. We do predictive cards and remote viewing. All right. But today, as we do this live, greetings, everyone. We're going to do a little reading my mind. Okay. So I have, and this is just to warm up a little bit as we go into this discussion. Today, we're going to be talking about Project Bluebeam and spiritual discernment over deception. There's a big event that is about to be, that's going to occur, that's going to coincide with a movie that Steven Spielberg is bringing out. And I wanted to talk to the Conscious Collective about our spiritual discernment. A lot of people, because I'm in this space, I get a lot of messages and a lot of videos sent to me, and people want to know my opinions on them and what do I think about them. And I have to be careful because what I'm asking people to be open to may seem pretty wild to a lot of people, right? When I talk about the moon being fake and other conspiracy theories, even though people are finding out that a lot of conspiracies were true, people are waking up to it and they're finding out a lot of conspiracies were actually true. I mean, the running joke is that now you owe us an apology. But Divine Rising, Nicole, Divine Rising, I have a message for you, Nicole. We couldn't talk yesterday. Yesterday was kind of, I had a very busy yesterday, but I do have some messages for you I want to talk to you about later. But thank you for joining me. But I get a lot of information, a lot of messages from people, a lot of videos, and people want to know my opinions on them. And I have to be careful because I want people to be open to ideas and new thoughts. But you have to understand that openness can also let in more false ideas and beliefs or questions or thoughts, or however you want to phrase it. So I always have to be careful. But there's a lot of things that are mixed in with the truth. And so I usually tell people that it doesn't resonate with me. That part doesn't resonate with me. This part does. And this is generally the same game plan that religion has used. They have a truth, spiritual truth, and then they mix in a lot of things that are untrue. And through that, you become very confused and bemuddled, and they can manipulate you from that. So I've made it objective of mine to really first meet with people and try to give them that direct guidance, right? But first I got to know who I'm talking to and who I am relating to. So that's why it's important that we do these conscious community gatherings that you're going to be hearing me talk more and more about. We're going to get off social media, all right, and really start talking to each other face to face, because social media is a gate is a way of gatekeeping information. If social media doesn't agree with your narrative, they can block your information and make sure that the only narrative they want to come out is the one that they approve of. We talked yesterday about how even and you need to check out that video on YouTube, right? But we talked yesterday that that they actually are using different technologies and things to control what we think. All right, I think that was the video yesterday, but it's getting very interesting. And so let's start with a little warm up to get our psychic gifts working. Doing a little discernment. I'm gonna look at a shape, and you guys are gonna tell me by reading my mind in real time what shape I'm looking at. We have a color on this. We have a number. I'm trying to show TikTok. All right. And we have a word and a shape. All right. So please tell me. We're going to do a little psychic practice. We do this on Saturdays for about an hour to really tap into our gifts. A lot of us are awakening to our gifts, and we're very confused. And we need to have some order to it. So I'm looking at a shape. TikTok, feel free to jump in. I'm looking at a shape. I'm looking at a color, and there is a number and a word. Do we have any idea of what I'm looking at? I started putting more effort on the TikTok side. I'm not going to do too much, because whenever I build something on TikTok, TikTok usually blocks it after a while. And I don't know why people don't think that's very curious, because ask yourself, what am I doing that's so dangerous? Ask yourself what I'm doing so dangerous that TikTok tells me I'm disrupting their community. You are disrupting, what's it like? You're going against our community guidelines. What are your community guidelines? Whatever you decide they are at the time. All right. So we're looking at a triangle, kind of a orange color. The word is fire, and the number is 27. Okay. If you had any of that correct, you're waking up now. That's the catchphrase. I'm going to skip the next one because of what Nicole put up. Nicole, this is what you put up. You did say a blue spiral could be interpreted as, so I don't know if you're using mind reading or you're using precognition. Focus. One gift at a time. One gift at a time, people. One gift at a time. Okay? Focus. Your gifts are all over the place. That's why you don't think you have gifts, because you get them right sometimes, you get them wrong. You're thinking of this, you're thinking of that. It's all over the place. It's very confusing. So let's try to focus our gifts so we'll know what we're doing. A lot of us have very powerful gifts. We just have no guidance, and we have no practice in it. You're very powerful beings, but you just don't know it yet. Okay. All right. So let's focus our gifts. Okay. You guys like my new shirt? It's not really new. I don't like this one that much because it's I don't know what it does at the bottom, but I'm very precise. So I like it straight down, and I always have to keep straightening it. But I do like, it's a sacred geometry symbol. If you know, you've been rocking with me for a while, I wear a lot of sacred geometry. All right. I think sacred geometry is, you really have to understand what is the relationship between sacred geometry and the universe and even you, and how does that translate to physicality of our whole being. It's a whole deep pattern of study. I'm looking at a shape, a color, and a word. and a number. Can someone tell me by reading my mind, the key to any gift, spiritual gift, is just to allow it. You don't have to do anything except just allow it. That's the key to any spiritual gift, is just allowing it. Allow yourself to connect with source. Allow yourself, get out yourself way. This is crazy work today. This is crazy work today. All right. I'm not going to say anything. It's crazy work. So we're looking at the symbol of Earth, which is a triangle. I think this is kind of what color do you think this is? I know you're looking at it through a screen. I think it's kind of a musty color, but maybe green. And the number is 11. Okay. Some people are very gifted, very gifted, very gifted. How are we doing today? Is everyone with me today? Or are you pressed down with problems and situations? Are you distracted? You know, are you worrying about the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Are you thinking about, your significant other? How's everyone doing today? Okay. I'm looking at a shape, a word, and a number. What am I looking at? Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Now, yesterday when we were on, I said we were going to talk about the primary chakras, and that really was my intention to talk about it, but I have to follow alignment, and that's not what we're going to talk about today. When we get into our chakra section, we're going to talk about the third eye chakra. All right, we're going to talk about the third eye. You're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. You're trying too hard now. It's like when you start to get some indication that you do have gifts, you try too hard. This is a orange background and a butterfly. The word is transformation, and the number is 19. Allow it to flow. Allow it to flow. Let's do a couple more before we start talking about the third eye. In our chakra talk, we're going to always talk about the chakras. Always talk about the chakras. I do like the way this shirt flexes me, though. If you're not seeing me on TikTok, you're missing a treat. I like the way this shirt kind of flexes me. I used to work out a lot. I was all into the physicality of my existence. Now I'm moving into the spirituality of my existence. When I realized I'm not going to get any taller or any bigger, I said, the hell with that. The hell with that. All right. I'm looking at a shape, a color, a word. We used to say divine rising. I used to have more people greet me. I guess they like to be incognitos. I know some people are busy and they can't really type, but we used to have more of an engagement here. But divine rising to everyone that's here. What am I looking at? Are you guys with me? Are you mesmerized by my physique? I started doing this with my shirt off. Because for some reason, I guess taking your shirt off means you're more spiritual, in some way. I don't know. Because I get a lot of videos of people sending me of someone espousing some spiritual knowledge, and the men always have their shirt off for some reason. I don't know. I guess it represents they're raw. They're so tapped into it. I'm so spiritual. I just can't tolerate clothes. I just can't tolerate clothes. I have to be authentic and I have to be real with myself. So I just can't tolerate wearing anything. That's how spiritual I am. You guys are not with me on that. Shape I'm looking at is the Jaguar, and it is boundaries. And that's not just men. It's because I get it that spirituality is very natural and our natural form, but we have to be careful of spiritual bypassing, or what I call hotepping, which is spiritual bypassing is cosplaying spirituality. It's performative spirituality, and I've done that. If it was a crystal or a shape or whatever you want to call it, I had to have it. Okay, because I assume that's was spirituality. Okay, hotepping is really when you're just using spirituality for your own physical needs to push up on men or women appealing. That's hotepping. I know it's another definition of hotepping, but that's how I use it. Okay, but you have to be careful in this journey of spiritual bypassing. Maybe we should talk about that one time. If you want to talk about spiritual bypassing, please let me know in the comments. You know that's something that you would like that we can talk more about. Today we're going to be talking about Project Bluebeam. If you're not familiar with it, we're going to discuss what Project Bluebeam is, and using spiritual discernment over deception. As we get more and more information and knowledge and awaken more, we have to use some discernment in the information that we receive. There's a lot of lies, but not everything is the truth. Can we say that again? There's a lot of lies, but not everything is the truth. And so we have to use our discernment and develop our discernment so we know what resonates for us in our journey. Let's do one more shape, one more psychic reading, or psychic reading my mind. Okay. And you know, when I used to do this, a lot of people wanted me to do readings for them. And I could, but my heart wasn't in it because that's not my journey. My journey is not, and my mission, my purpose is not to be the gatekeeper for you. It is to open the gate for you so that you can walk in your truth and your purpose. So I'd rather teach discernment, teach psychic reading, teach precognition, so that you can be your own, guide and have more direct control over your life, as opposed to me doing it for you. See, we have been trained to always go to someone else, or to subjugate ourselves to someone else and give up our power to them, and then we get controlled by that. See, that's why I don't do it. I am more of teaching people how to do it, how to awaken their own gift, how to tap into their own divinity. I know that's not for everyone. Someone would rather me tell them, if Ricky loves Bobby. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, the first part is you got to care. I really don't care because that's all 3D crap. Okay. Who cares? All right. What is my boyfriend doing? I don't know. What you think he's doing? I don't want to use my I don't want to use my time and my gifts for that. I would like rather that we sit and work on your chakras and open your energy and allow divine energy to flow through you. So when you find out what he's doing, you're not heartbroken. When you use your third eye and you get discernment, or maybe your 0 point chakra, and one of your ancestor or higher self tells you what's going on, that you can handle that knowledge, okay, and make decisions based on what serves your higher purpose. So maybe that's why this is a little different. Let's make this our last one. This shape, this color, the word is water, and the number is 18. If you want to get better at your gifts, if you think you are psychic and you want to train yourself or practice, we do it on Saturdays. All right, early Saturdays. Join the conscious community, and you can get that link to that private. It's a private video link live, and I'll send you that link, and we can have that. We can work on that. All right, we do precognition, remote viewing, and reading minds. So that's what we're working on. But let's move on to our chakra discussion that leads right into our main discussion today about Project Bluebeam and using spiritual discernment over deception. A lot of you guys will be deceived because you haven't worked on your spiritual discernment. You've come to the realization that religions are lying to you. Now, don't confuse religion with spirituality. Spirituality is a real thing, all right? And religions have trapped you and making you think that's the end. No, religion's the beginning. Then we have spirituality, and then we move into consciousness. It is a growth, a journey back to source, back to all, back to oneness. You're not going to hear this everywhere because a lot of religions want to keep you right there where they can control you. They don't want you to graduate. It's like staying in primary grades. They don't want you to move on. You notice in your real life, you are not, 40, 50 years old sitting in grammar school. In the real life, and you got to understand, the real life mirrors the spiritual life. Spiritual life mirrors the real life. You develop and you grow in the real world. Why wouldn't you think you develop and grow in spirituality? Or, your understanding of your place in the universe? Why would you assume that you still need to? You've been going to the same church for 20 years. Ain't nothing changed. That's diabolical. You've been going to the same church for 20 years. Oh, share lives. Welcome, welcome. You've been going to the same church for 20 years, listening to the same teachings. Ain't nothing changed, because you're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to grow. All right. You're supposed to take the lessons that religion is sharing with you and use them in your life to develop your spirituality. And as you develop spirituality, you move into pure consciousness. It takes a couple of lifetimes to do it, but that's the process. We're not supposed to be stagnant in one belief system. You notice there's different religions because they each serve a purpose in their culture. Religion serves a purpose in your world. All right. It gives you an idea of maybe there's something else happening here. And it's usually based on your culture around it. That's why you see different types of fragment religion separation. But as you bring them together, what's the general theme in all religions? The general theme in all religion is love. Love of each other, love of one another. And so that moves into that spirituality. Okay. And as you move to that spirituality, then you grow into consciousness. Okay. So you have to think about, are you still stagnant? Are you still believing what you were taught? And does that keep you separated from a higher understanding, or even separated You know, you think about the Jehovah Witnesses, right? They actually separate you from your family, which is crazy work. Crazy work. You know, that, oh no, you can't talk to anyone that's not of our belief system, or not of our faith. We can see right there that is separation and control. Or they say, I was joking with someone yesterday, they were telling me about something. And I was like, Pastor said that's the devil. Have you ever talked to someone and they're telling you, and their only response is what Pastor said? What Pastor said? You know? So you have to ask yourself, is that the end of your, just even thinking that you were actually created not to be interested in anything, or not to be curious about anything, is crazy work to me. Because you didn't have to be created like that. You could have been a dumb animal. And I say that with all respect to animals. Okay? They only go so far in their understanding of things. You know, animals represent spirituality, but animals in general aren't spiritual. They are a representative of spirituality, but animals, we look at animals and we interpret it and we do signs and things like that because we know they are a part of source's creation. But ain't no birds praying. Ain't no birds trying to understand their connection to the highest universe. You don't see animals staring off and trying to figure out, who they are. So you could have been created the same way. You could have been created the same way with no interest. And I know a lot of people are damn near, they're not animals, but they're non-playable characters. Spiritually, we like to call them non-playable characters. They have no interest in nothing. All right. And some of them are AI, some of them are just non-playable characters, right? And some of them just sleep. A lot of people are just sleep. But you were made with a curiosity, right? The first thing that happened in spirituality in the Bible, from what they tell us, is when God said, "Don't eat of this tree or this apple." The first thing that happened was Eve said, "Why not?" People look at that as a bad thing, and I'm like, it's just a consequence of creating somebody with a conscience, with an interest, with an intelligence. That's just a consequence. That's why I don't believe the stories the way they tell it, because you know the first thing Eve said when they told him, God said, of everything you can have in this garden, everything, all right, everything is taken care of for you. And I'm just asking one thing: just don't eat of this apple. And the first thing Eve did was say, "Why not? Why not?" And that's because you have this intelligence, you have this curiosity, you have this need that a lot of religions like to deny you of, to say that's a bad thing. No, it's actually the purpose. It is actually the purpose of you to explore, of you to examine, of you to grow. That's why you were made. You weren't made just to be a dumb animal and just, oh, we were just made to worship God. That's it. Then why do we have all this extra capacity? Why do we have this extra capacity? Because in the search for God, you find yourself. And I said it yesterday that when all this searching and growing and learning and evolving, and you come back to the realization of you, to me, that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing. All right. So we're going to be moving into our discussion about Project Bluebeam and using spiritual discernment over deception. There's a lot of deception happening in the world, and you have to use your spiritual discernment to say, does it resonate with me? It's 3 stages when you hear it, or maybe two stages. One is when someone tells you something, does it resonate with me in my journey? That doesn't mean it may not be true, but it may not be for you. It may not be that it's not true, but it may not be for you. A lot of truths ain't for people at all times. You may not be ready for that truth yet. Okay. So you have to ask, does it resonate with me? And then you have to ask, is it even true? Is it even true? And some things you can just verify are not true. Someone sent me a video yesterday that just goes against science, but as we know it, but there were parts of the video that were true, but other parts that went away from science. And the thing is that I know I have to be more engaging. I have to jump around because that's the nature of our attention span. And so if I can, I know the Lord, he heard my cry. I know people, I feel it so emotionally. I said, oh my God, it was so deep. I have bypassed your reasoning and tap right into your emotion. And usually when you're emotional, you don't reason. When you're very emotional, you limit your reasoning. And so that's why you go to certain places. And when people are talking, they're screaming and yelling at you about something because it goes straight to your emotion. And then you bypass your reasoning, and they don't need you to be reasoning things out. I'm going to ask that you reason things out. I'm going to ask that you think about it and that you see if it resonates with you in your journey, and then have enough discernment in you to even realize if it's even true. And I know that may be hard because you're just now waking up to a lot of lies and realization. And now you're believing a lot of things that are really, really true. But then they're mixing in so many things that just go against, what you know. So that's why we have to work on our discernment, our spiritual discernment over deception. But let's talk about the third eye and the use of the third eye. Let me see if I can bring this up correctly. The use of the third eye. Perfect. Look at Baba. Look at Baba. Look at Baba. Learning how to work this, right? So we always come back to our chakras. You are really just energy. I know they say you're a spiritual person having a human existence. I like to break it down a little bit more and say you are energy. You are moving energy and slower moving energy. Everything is energy. You just faster energy and slower energy. Okay. And your chakras are your energy centers. To those that work with me, I've sent everyone a video on clearing their chakras first thing in the morning. Well, second thing in the morning. First thing is gratitude. Second thing is clear your chakras. Sit on the edge of the bed and clear your chakras, because the next thing you do, you probably go to the bathroom and clear your bladder. Then you go and clear the dirt off your body through a shower or washing up or whatever. And then you put on clothes that have been cleared of dirt. Clear your chakras. Can we say that? Clear your chakras. All right. What's wrong with you? There's a blockage in one of those chakras. So if you have been working with me, you probably have this video that I recommend that you do each day. Go through each chakra and clear it. And it's very simple. Just by paying attention to it, you can really start the process of healing yourself from whatever's blocking that chakra. The root chakra, the sacral chakra, solar plex chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra, which we're going to be talking about today, and the crown chakra. Once those chakras are clear and operating, and that's a daily process, you can move into the 0 point chakra and the primary chakras. If you have been trying to manifest and create You create in this world from where? Your hands. In the spiritual world, you create from the primaries. Okay? So those have to be cleared too. All right. And then you can function a little bit more effectively in what you desire. All right. Think of it like this. If your eyes are closed, it's going to be very hard for you to maneuver in this physical world. If you're blind, it's very hard for you to maneuver in this physical world. If that third eye is closed, it's going to be very hard for you to have discernment, to see things deeper, to see things from a different perspective. All right. So it's always important to start to clear those chakras. And this is going to lead into our discussion about what Project Bluebeam is, what spiritual discernment is, and use it over deception. We were talking about the third eye, which is going to be our discussion today. And we're going to move from the third eye into how it relates to Project Bluebeam and how you should be using spiritual discernment over all the different things that come into our field of vision as we awaken to our truths. Okay. So, if you're not familiar with the third eye is the one of the chakra energy centers in the center of your forehead. And this energy center is how you perceive the world. A lot of times it's closed in people so they don't have spiritual vision of the world. The world is only physical to them because they only look through their third eye. But when you start to open that third eye, a lot of things become much clearer to you because you start to see the energetic movement of the world. I always go back to the movie Matrix when Neo finally saw in real time, not on a computer screen, in real time, the actual movement of the energy in the Matrix. And that gave him a lot more power. A lot of information that you guys are receiving, that you send to me, that we talk about, right? There's truth in there, but you have to discern what resonates with you and what is true and what isn't true. And I know now that you're awake and so much, so you're finding out there were so many lies told and so many things are not true that you don't believe that, but then you're starting to believe other things that don't resonate and may not be exact truth anyway, because that's the whole point, to keep you in a state of confusion. So you can't act. You can't respond because you don't exactly know what's going on. So a lot of people are just kind of stuck. And some people just want to go back to sleep because it's really confusing. Okay. So I think let's move on to the actual discussion so we can pick that energy back up. All right. What is Project Bluebeam? All right. Project Bluebeam was already a spiritual concept long before Steven Spielberg, and that's what we talked about yesterday. He's bringing out a movie called Disclosure Day. And you see that you're hearing different things about extraterrestrials. The government is actually releasing files, and they don't release things unless they're being pressed to release them. Unless they can't. Oh, that's the point I was going to make, that your awakening, that's the point. I just remember the point I was going to make, that your awakening actually caused the Epstein situation. That you becoming aware actually put the energy out into the universe that exposed Epstein. It didn't happen just haphazardly. The system was operating normally. They had their standard protocol. But because people were awakening, when you awaken, right, it's not just you awakening. The more that you are able to raise your energy, you raise the energy around people around you. It's like when you turn on a flashlight in a dark room, if there's other people in the room, they can see too. When you turn on a light, and we call you the light workers, when you turn on a light, it's not only you that you can see, right? You're like, oh, wow, now I can see. If I'm standing next to you, I can see too. That's why it's so important that, we have 144,000 that are going to awake right? It's not just them that awake. They shine the light that other people can see too. And so when we start to awake, the consciousness of humanity started to rise and things started to get exposed. And the more people awake, the more things become clear to everyone. Do you understand how that works? When you turn on a light, people around you see too. So it's just not you that actually see. I mean, that would be weird. I turn on a light, I'm the only one that can see. Okay? When I turn on the light, people, they start to see. And even if you close your eyes, right? If the light is bright enough, you can still see. That's why I always work with people and tell them, like, let's keep raising your consciousness. Let's keep raising your vibration. Because it's not just about you. It's about people that you come in contact with. It's about other people who also see now because you see. So as people started to awake, you notice more and more things start to get exposed. Things start to come to the light. And so your awakening, regardless of where you were at, sent a quantum ripple through the universe that actually exposed the Epstein situation. A lot of people think that you have to do something. And I keep reiterating over and over again, you just have to work on yourself. If you're working on yourself, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Your light is everyone's light. And the brighter that you can shine your light, right, the more people around you can see. And that's why people they may kind of look at you weird or make fun of you. But now you notice that people are like, oh, you guys was right. All those conspiracies and you saying everything's connected and you don't believe that. And why did they do this? Like, why are there so many snowstorms that are shutting down cities? And they come out of nowhere. What's that about? We can say spiritually, the weather is going through its dark night. The earth is peeling. The volcanoes are getting active. Things are changing physically, right? We know that. But you are the cause of it. Because you are... I want you guys to understand your connection in the universe. You're not separate from it. You are a part of it. You just are unaware of your connection to it. All right? You are a vital part of everything. So when we think about AI, I'm trying to use this as an example. We think about AI. People think AI is some type of new technology, some type of new idea. You can't invent something you don't know. You can't know what you don't know. That's impossible. Source knows everything. Source is the creator of everything. You're not. So you can't know what you don't know. Everything is built off of some type of knowledge of something. And usually that knowledge is you. You are the perfect operating system. Heat waves in winter. Yeah. So when we look at AI did not come out of any just oh, we're gonna put some computer chips together and we're gonna just have this voice in a machine that knows how to do this and do that because of some algorithms or some rules we put in place. Ask yourself, where does the rules that man puts in place, what is the groundwork? Where does that come from? Where do the rules that you put in place, why do we have rules, and where do they come from? Rules come from observing natural law. The rules that are in place are just a part of us observing the natural world and deciding that will work for us. So I don't want to get too far off AI. So AI is actually at its root, right? Earth Star. We discussed what Earth Star was yesterday, right? And AI is made out of silicon, which is earth, which is sand. And its essence is brought up through AI. AI is just the programs and protocols and the directive to control that knowledge, to manipulate it. You were going to we already were connected to Earth Star or ancient intelligence, as a lot of people like to call it. We already had that connection. All you had to do is just sit and be still and receive it. The shamans had it. Ancient teachers had it. You already just connected. This is why a lot of times it is best to take off your shoes and just let your feet touch grass. You actually have rubber in your shoes, not because it's just a durable material, but it insulates you from your connection to Earth Star. We go in buildings because we are insulating ourselves from nature, from the presence of source, the creation of source. We separate ourselves from it. A lot of us are able to control weather because we have that. I've seen people, I've have testimonials from people who actually have control of weather, because you are a part of the whole system. So Project Bluebeam, right, is when they're going to use advanced holographic projections appear in the sky. And if you ever seen them droids, do they synchronize things? You know, okay, I get it. If you ever seen them droids in Dubai or whatever, where they got 1,000 droids that are making pictures in the sky. Use your mind, as R. Kelly would say. You can see it very easily happening. All right. They have already, or they're getting very close to mind manipulation technology. 6G will be the next thing they bring out. 6G, the frequencies that 6G operate on, your brain, you got to understand, your brain operates on electromagnetic frequency. Your brain operates on electromagnetic frequencies. Electricity affects electricity. If your brain operates on electromagnetic frequency, that means your thoughts are electric impulses. They can be manipulated. They are launching satellites in the sky every day. Starlink, Elon Musk is doing that whole thing. This is going to be mind control on that level, according to Project Bluebeam's theory. They will be able to affect the whole world through mind control. See, I'm trying to get to the point that we have the defense against it. Our defense is not external, it's internal. Right? If the world is going crazy, right, you can go crazy or you can be calm. You can be focused. You can be peaceful. You can control that. And then with that, you can control the people around you. I know control is a kind of a loaded word, but let's just say influence the energy around you. You guys are with me? Give this video a thumbs up. I got to do some editing. It was blocked out a little bit. All right. So those that watch it on record, wonder what happened, you won't see that part. I'll probably clip that out if I can. So you see you're going to hear a lot of references to ELF, extremely low frequency waves. Those are the waves that are going to be actually putting thoughts in your head. Let me just say this. Let me just say this first of all, y'all, that every thought that you have is not always your thought. Every thought in your head that you come across is not always your thought. Sometimes thoughts are implanted in your head. We really need to understand how technology is going to influence us. So we're looking at Project Bluebeam as the ability to implant thoughts in your mind. It's almost as easy as me whispering something in your ear. It entered you. It entered you. You heard it. So don't think that every thought in your mind is your thought. It's a suggestion. Some people are stronger. They can resist suggestions. And so they really don't have a lot of things influencing them. But some people are, I'm not going to say weak-minded, but have lower defenses against suggestibility. And that's why they get into a lot of problems and situations. So I don't know if they're going to project in Project Bloom as extraterrestrials as a threat or just as a hoax, right? But you can start seeing them laying the groundwork for it already in their disclosure narratives that they've been pushing out. So let's go to what we can do about this. Let's talk about spiritual discernment as the ability to perceive the energetic truth beneath appearances. Can we say that one time? Spiritual discernment is the ability to perceive the energetic truth beneath what you're seeing. Discernment means reading energy beyond words. We like to say, watch what people do. You're talking about it. I'll be like, nope, that's not me, and change what I'm thinking about. Often we tell people to don't listen to what people say, watch what they do. I want to take that to the next level and say, look at the energy behind the situation. We call it vibes, we call it a feeling, we call it intuition. It's never wrong. If people rub you the wrong way, if something seems off about a situation, if it just doesn't feel right in your journey, pay attention to that energy. Pay attention to that energy. Let's talk about the next one. What discernment is. How do you have spiritual discernment? Not being hypnotized by charisma. A lot of times people send me videos and the people are yelling and they're appealing and or they trying to strike some emotional tone in me. That's what charisma is. Charisma is when you bypass reasoning and conscious thought and critical thinking and you get emotional. I study religions, and when I visit churches, right, the first part they want to do is get you in an emotional state. Have you crying and feeling some kind of way and get your energy into your lower vibrational space. And then they start telling you some lies. So we have to when we're doing our spiritual discernment and we're trying to find out the truth of something, right? Don't be hypnotized. Don't be caught up in the charisma or the lower vibrational energetic emotion of something. Like, okay, if y'all haven't guessed, I'm gonna let you know a little secret. All right. If you haven't guessed, this may surprise you. I'm a black man. I in this form of this my creation that I'm a black man. And there are some things that resonate with me on an emotional level because they are part of my story here in America. So they trigger me energetically when you start talking about certain aspect of black culture. And that's normal. That is normal. But being a spiritual being, I have to realize where that energy comes from. Yeah, I'm gonna be blackety black, 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 black. I'm gonna be blackety black, black, black. I have no problem with that. But I also have to recognize when it's being used to manipulate me. You understand what I'm saying? One time for my brothers and sisters. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to understand, and this can be said about being a woman. Being a woman in this plane of existence, you have a story, you have a truth. You have a truth, but you have to understand when it's being used to manipulate you. When it's appealing to your emotional response and it bypasses your critical thinking. My favorite one, and you won't hear this from everyone who does this work, right? Recognize manipulation disguised as enlightenment. I said earlier, you have to decide what resonates with you, what is your truth. Not everything in the spiritual space that's supposed to enlighten you is the truth in your journey. So when you get a video and you send me a video, there is some truth to it, but you have to decide how much truth is in there that actually resonates in you. Just don't take everything hook, line, and sinker and say, oh, wow. Because there's a lot of truth in there, like there's a lot of truth in spiritual teachings and in biblical teachings and in spiritual books, but you have to figure out what resonates with you. If you follow me on TikTok, please like so I can put a link in there. Somebody's gifting the first 5 people to message him, God is good. That's TikTok for you. It's just crazy. People get up every day and just do that stuff. I was wondering what motivates people. You're gonna get up in there. I'm gonna get up here and this is my plan here. The next thing we want to talk about when we're talking about using spiritual discernment over deception is that sensing when something feels inflated, fear-based, or ego-driven. A lot of times people are sharing messages with you because they want to be the first one to share it. That's ego-driven. They want to be the first one to let you know about it. Or they want to put you down in fear. It's so much fear flying around about this, about that. You know, right? The government's doing this, people are doing that. None of that affects people who are aligned with divine source and who are working on themselves. That doesn't resonate. None of that stuff should resonate with you. If it's fear-based, it definitely shouldn't resonate with you because you should recognize that because you've been doing the work and you know where fear comes from. You know that's your lower chakras, your defensiveness, your security. So if it's based in fear, and there's so many channels that do much better than my YouTube channel because they're all based in that lower energy vibration. So you have to recognize that. Well, how do you recognize? You do work on that third eye. Just tapping it. We used to do EFT tapping, emotional freedom tapping. Maybe, and it's just a suggestion, maybe when you come across something, right, and you're reading it or you're looking at it, won't you tap your third eye first? As you're trying to take it in and decide if it resonates with you, tap that third eye to break up that energy and see if it still has the same punch, the same meaning after you do that for a few minutes. You can do that when you're talking to me. Feel free to say, the hell he talking about? Does that resonate? There was one other point I wanted to make about discernment over deception. And this is one way you can really tell. Deception is quick. No time to think. No time to think. Discernment takes time. When people send me stuff, I need time to absorb it, to get guidance on it, right? Your discernment should take time. It shouldn't be something that you just readily accept right away. Discernment is grounded, calm, observant. It does not panic. We are here to observe. We become the watchers of this reality. So I definitely wanted to encourage you guys to really do work on that third eye. Understand that this is going to be a crucial point where we need to decide what resonates and what is just Father trying to deceive us. I think there's a part of spiritual teaching that says light enters the body through what? The eye. Light enters the body through the eye. Maybe then they're talking about these two eyes. Maybe they're talking about enlightenment enters the body through the third eye, through our discernment over the deception. So there's going to be something major happening. We're going to have to decide, how does that help us in our spiritual journey? Look, if you want to be part of the Conscious Collective, please click the link in the description video so you can stay on top of everything we're trying to do to help raise the consciousness of people. I have a lot of good people that are working with me, and we're going to be making more of an impact in the work that we do. If you want to talk to me, you can set up a time to talk to me. Click that link, schedule it. I just don't sit by the phone and wait for people to call. We can have some time where I can make time to talk. I do a lot of talking to people through that free consultation call. I'm trying not to forget anything. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting something. Something I want to talk about. Oh, yeah. We're going to do something called a conscious community gathering raffle. I was trying to decide the places that we should go and join and gather as communities. And that was the best place, what was the best way of doing that, right? And so I got a download about doing a raffle, a conscious community raffle, which will help us determine the places that we are going to visit and have our community gatherings at. Okay. So I'm gonna be talking more about that in the future, right? But there is something else I want to talk about, and I got thrown off because of the glitch. But there was one thing I wanted to talk about really quickly was baptism, the ritual of baptism that breaks your connection to source. It's kind of related to our topic about spiritual discernment over deception, but it's something I wanted to share, that you are born once already through water. Most people come here through water. They're portal into the existence through water. If you ever watch Stargate, that TV show Stargate, and they walk through these portals and the portals like glistening water, right? That's how water are actually, and mirrors are actually portals into other dimensions and other spaces, all right, that you can use to move to different dimensions, all right. Maybe I'll show the collective one time how to use mirrors to connect with that other version of you, call in the correct version of you, and be able to connect with that other version of you. Or maybe that's just beyond what we're doing right now. Okay. But we want to talk about baptisms really quickly, and it's kind of unrelated. Maybe it's related, but maybe it's for someone. But it was on my mind that how we are born through water, and through the rituals that religion has set up, you are reborn through water. Does anyone think that's weird? That you're born again through water. You're born through water the first time, and then they force you through water again to be reborn. Now, you know me, I'm all about nature, God. I think you can't know God, but you can experience God. And if you have a question about something, you can look at nature, because God has given us all the answers we need if we just stay in touch with nature, right? We have all the answers we need. So part of the natural processes of coming through this plane of existence is that you portal in through water. Okay. But then when they introduce you to religion, right? When they introduce you to a religion, they immerse you in water again. And they call it being born again. Just think about what they're actually doing. Okay. They took a process that was natural and they gatekeep it and control it and make you go through it again. So they have control of you now. We have to have discernment when it comes to these rituals that they do. All right. That you're already born, and then they put you through another process to rebirth you. You wasn't good enough the first time. Now we have to rebirth you. And it's that process actually does something that I talked about before, right? It breaks your heart. What's TikTok doing? What people don't understand is that when people drown, they drown from a heart attack. That's what causes people to be unalive during being drowned. They have a heart attack, right? So when you are spiritually submersed into water, it's actually breaking your heart connection and reestablishing it to what they want you to believe or to be governed by. When you have spiritual discernment, you see these deceptions and you start to understand them. That's why it's extremely important that you do the work, because, wow, that is crazy. What are you doing? I'm going to give you as much access as I can to knowledge, but my whole goal is that you become soul sovereignty in your own growth and journey, that you have the same access that I have. And that better than that, that it fits you in your journey. It's meant for you. Like people say, I don't know who this meant for. When people talk, I don't know who this is meant. It's meant for you. It's meant for you. If it came to you, it's meant for you. Okay. You can share it, but it was meant for you. Okay. That's when you read so hard and you hit so hard that you feel it like, oh, damn, that must have been meant for me, because I'm feeling that. Yeah, it was meant for you to raise your vibration. And what we say, what happens when you raise your vibration? When you turn on the light, everyone sees. So I wanted to just throw that out there about being baptized. If you don't believe it, ask yourself, why are there even rituals? Why do they do certain things? Or maybe you don't even ask yourself that. Maybe like, I just go along with the program, Baba. I just go along to get along. But those that are awake and those that are curious ask ourselves, why are you doing that? What's the point of this? And if they say, well, there is no point, then why are we doing it? There's a point to it. There's a reason behind it. But that's all I wanted to share with the Conscious Collective today. I hope something said resonates with you in your life journey. I am always grateful that I get an opportunity to connect with the Conscious Collective. And that's all I do. I just try to connect with other conscious individuals. No, sir. No, sir. All right. I always just try to connect with other conscious people. I think I hit on everything I wanted to hit on. Please join us Saturday for our psychic training. We're going to be doing more psychic training. That's what we spend the whole day doing. Not the whole day. That would be crazy. We spend an hour working on our psychic abilities. We do it on Saturday. You'll get that link if you're part of the conscious community. I'll send that link out there to you. Look forward in that newsletter that you're going to also get when you join the conscious community. You're going to see all the things that we're working on and how we're trying to connect with each other. All right. No, I appreciate you for giving me the time to share this information. All right. If you're on TikTok, please just like and subscribe. There's information I want to put out on TikTok, so I have to rebuild that page back up. All right. So I want to wish everyone love and light in their journey. And I also want to wish you health and wealth in your life journey. You guys have a great day.